PR Connections Radio presents Ethics Realty is a full-service real estate agency that provides a service for finding the ideal property for residential, commercial, and investor-centered clients. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned buyer or investor, they provide service to all and listen to understand your goals and needs. For more information about their wealth and investment-centered services, call 702-518-1606 or visit their website, ethicsrealty.net.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Evelyn's Roundtable. This podcast highlights a host of relevant topics. Our conversations share voices of women of color, Black women veterans and veterans, allies, candidates, and elected officials, entrepreneurs, teachers, students, and others. We also explore important issues and challenges such as grassroots leadership, job training, homelessness, and mental health advocacy, accountability, male inclusion, and civics. Our mission statement is to empower all women. Do you hear me? All women to hold hands as we rise. Well, hello there, and good evening to you, Lou. I want to again thank you for coming on here, and I think we're gonna have a nice night. I really do. And I just want to remind everybody out here that we're on the first and third Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Evelyn's Roundtable. Please tell everybody about it and come join us and listen to what we talk about. Civics, we talk about everything, which is how it should be, right? We're in the state of Nevada, right? So they always say, you know, Nevada's always the first to do this. So here we are. Again, so Lou, can you please start off with telling the audience who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Sure. My name's Lou Brown. I'm originally from Providence, Rhode Island, but I've been in the Valley now for 30 years. This December will make 30 years I've been here in the Valley. During that time, I spent time in security, worked on the Strip for a while. Then I went into law enforcement for quite a few years. Ended up coming back out of law enforcement, went back into security on the Strip, working security management over the years. And then my last job was I was a lieutenant on the protective force up there at the Nevada test site.
Wow. Way up there. Wow. That was a drive. Every
65
day.
miles. Every 65 miles, talk about an hour drive every day.
Wow. Being I'm in the trades, I didn't have the opportunity to work up at the test site, but I remember those drives to Mojave or State Line, all the powerhouses I did and everything. So what did your business bring you here, or was that an idea you had and the reason why you ended up in Vegas? So kind of tell us about how that came about.
Actually, the way I ended up in Vegas is came out on a trip with a friend, and after spending about a week here, I fell in love with Vegas. I remember going home and telling my family, "I'm out. I'm out of here." And I remember my pop saying, "Boy, you ain't going anywhere." I said, "Well, you watch." And that was July of '95, and I think it was late November. Packed up. Me and a buddy drove out here, and I came to Vegas. So It wasn't so much the business that I'm doing now that brought me here. It was more, I was trying to get in law enforcement. And back east, it was really hard, very, very political. So I said, let me take my chances out here. And I was successful. I think I was hired, school district PD picked me up after my first year of being in Vegas.
That's interesting, though. That you say that. I know that's not really the topic, but I'm just curious on, I never would have thought that it would be hard to get in law enforcement back east, though. So why do you think that is? Because there's a way more people back east than here.
Well, Providence it's a small town. Providence wasn't that big. Back in the 80s, I think they had about 500 police officers at the time, and weren't that many minorities. I think there were a total of 5 minorities, and I think there was 2 women and 3 African Americans at the time. My numbers could be wrong, but I remember it's not that big. And same thing with the state police. And so it's very political. Why? I don't know. But it's kind of like if you really didn't know anybody, you had a hard time getting on. So I kind of threw in the towel on that. Like I said, I had the opportunity to come to Las Vegas. I threw my name back in the hat and I got picked up within that first year of being here.
Wow. Because even I'm telling you, I never would. I didn't even know that until you. I was like, wow. You see, I'm kind of like, wow, in that right there, because that's interesting. Yeah, and when I got out of the military, I went for law enforcement too, and I think we even talked about this before. I missed the running part of the physical part. I missed it by a 16th of a second, which is nothing, and they told me no. And I was like, wow, that's only 16th of a second, right? But like you said, right? That's Midwest too, you know, it's kind of, you know, kind of hard to get in there and everything. Wow, they picked you up that quick here. And so what made you start the business that we're getting ready to talk about? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Well, unfortunately, while I was up at the test site, I fell ill. And I had me out of work for about 10 months. And during that time, I started really thinking, is that something you want to continue to do? Because, sorry about the shake there. What part of the illness was stress? It was stress related. And so during that time, I started thinking, Lou, do you really want to go back? Is this something you want to do? So I said, no, it's not. So I started researching things that I could do. And I got with a franchise broker, and I looked at a few other things, and they were quite expensive to start. So I said, let me try something else. So I remember hearing about another company, and that does what I'm doing now. Didn't want to mention the name, give them free press, right? And and the franchise broker says, why don't you try T.A.C.T? We know the owner. He's a great guy. His name's Matt Lavaz, and talk to him. So I talked to him and I says, you know what? I kind of like it. I said, to me, what's the difference? Being a police officer, unfortunately, we get called to, check on people, and we find deceased people in their home or due to other means, And I said, so I saw it from that side of the fence. So what's the difference from doing it from the other side? So again, we're T.A.C.T, last responders. We're coming in after everything's said and done, and we do the job that a lot of people don't want to do, and then we're there to help the families, because a lot of times they don't know where to turn. They're like, would this happen? We have to take care of this now. Who do we call? So I just thought it was a great thing to get into. It's similar to law enforcement, it's part of the law enforcement family. And I said, why not? I get a chance to be my own boss and do what I want to do. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And you're right. You don't want to give anyone free press. You're right. So could you, because you said T.A.C.T, and that's the acronyms, correct? Can you tell our audience out here what it means, what the acronyms are?
T.A.C.T stands for Trauma and Casualty Team.
Wow. That's a whole mouthful right there.
Yeah.
And so then, because I know, like you said, there's a lot of avenues with what you're doing. It's not just, it's not so, we're just cleaning. No. And to be really, really frank and honest, you're doing service work for the community too. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you're cleaning, but it might be a situation where the family called you and said, you know what, I need you over here real quick, and I need you to help me, or even a older person, I need this done, I need this organized. So can you tell, because you do a whole lot. You do. Yeah. So can you start kind of telling us?
Yeah, I tell you, T.A.C.T, we're trained to handle crime scene cleanup, to include suicides, unattended deaths, hoarding. We do pet and rodent remediation. Pet waste. We clean that stuff. Um, and kind of lost track for a second here, but those are some of the things that we do. And as far as like helping the community, you're right. Most of the calls that we get are out of sheer desperation. That particular person has gotten to a point where their situation is completely gotten out of hand. I just recently did an estimate the other day, actually, and that's exactly what she said to me. She says, "Lou, I can't do this by myself. I need help." And what a lot of people don't understand is hoarding, especially. And I didn't mention, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned hoarding. That's been my bread and butter. Hoarding is really bad here in Las Vegas because anyone who's been here for any length of time knows we are highly transient, and hoarding it's unbelievable. Some of the homes that I've been into, I've done this for a little bit now. I still shake my head and go, wow, wow. So yeah, people get to that point where they become overwhelmed. They can't do it, or they're just not physically able to do the lifting. And that's where we come in.
That part.
That part. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Because again, in you've been in a house for look how long you've been here, right? You even said you've been here a while too, and you have seniors that have a lot of things in their house, or if you have an untimely death and the family needs to get the house ready to sell it, or to however they need to do it, they can call you. They can call you and all of that too, right?
Absolutely.
Wow. So can you, I don't want you to tell me any names, but I know that you got some really interesting stories. Could you tell us a story on how you did service for a family that really needed you to do that?
Yeah. Actually, we would just recently we completed a job for a gentleman who is a Navy vet, 87 years old, not in great health at all. And his home was a wreck. Just to kind of describe the home, he had 2 cats. So there was cat feces, cat urine all over the floors. The home was roach infested. And that was a challenge because, we are suited up, but you had to kind of keep your head on a swivel and look up a lot because the infestation was so bad. They were on the ceiling, they were on the walls, they're falling off the ceiling and walls, and I don't want to take that home. No one wants to take that home. But that's some of the things that we combat when we go into these properties. And we spent about several hours in a studio apartment getting that place straight. And it was a task. Again, we're combating the roaches, the dust. I can't really even put into words. It was really bad. It's bad. But what made me feel good was that we were able to help this gentleman, get his house to where it was now livable again. And that's our goal.
Wow. Wow. So not only did you help a senior, but you helped a Vietnam vet also.
Yes, sir.
Too.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Vietnam vet might even been a Korean War vet too, maybe. Because the age that you're saying, Wow.
Yeah, he served it was Vietnam. Yes, correct.
So Vietnam, huh?
Vietnam.
Yeah, I knew it was one of them. I knew it was one of them. Wow. So that's the cool part of this, So what made you do this specifically? Did somebody like bam, or did somebody literally something dropped on your head and you went, okay, so what mentally in your heart and physically, what made you do this?
I have to admit, in the time that I was researching what I wanted to do next in my life, I prayed on it. I did. And I asked the Lord to help me find something that I was going to be happy doing and could give back to the community. Already I was doing it in law enforcement, giving back to the community. So this is the same thing. Again, I'm giving back to the community, and it does me good. I feel great when we're done completing a job and that person turns to me and says, wow, this place looks great. I haven't seen that countertop in over a year. You know, you hear comments like that. I mean, you asked about stories. I can give you another story, which was our very first job. Uh, whew, this house in particular, we're talking about 1,800 square feet, single story home, just full of trash, every square inch. Not only do we have to deal with the trash, this home was rat infested.
Mm.
And I'm going to equate these to what you call those New York City rats. They weren't playing, they weren't afraid, but we battled them all the way through the house. And then at the very end, we it was my brother and I, we were actually cleaning their little storage areas out back. And I turned to him, I said, you know, Mike, I said, haven't seen them rascals ever since. He says, yeah, you're right. Well, I started to pull this box off a shelf, and the bottom of this box was not sturdy and actually gave way as I was putting into the trash. One of those giant New York style rats jumped out and landed on my forearm. And when I tell you, his head was at my elbow and his backside was at my wrist, and his tail draped over my hand.
Ooh.
And we were all in shock. I think even the rat was in shock because it was looking at me. I'm looking at my brother. He's looking at me. We're looking at the rat. And finally, I just shrugged my arm and he flew off. But that was an experience.
Wow.
And honestly, it's being my very first job. It made me go, is this what you really want to do? But you know
Mhm.
what? I took on the task. And I said, no, we're going to see this through. And we'll get this lady's house
Mhm.
clean. And when we were done, again, she wrote me a glowing review, which you can see on my webpage.
Hmm.
And it just made me feel good. You know, we were able to help. It was a task, but we got through it.
Isn't that something? I think a lot of people don't think of the humbling part that comes with what we do and all
Mm-hmm.
that. And even with what I do with these ladies, we're in the class right now. You know, like I said earlier, we started off with 10 and now we have 5. But when I'm seeing the light bulbs going off now, right?
Right.
I can do this. Oh, this is going to be good. And like you said, that's the part, right? The humbling part. In other words, the Holy Spirit, however you want to say
Yeah.
it, comes to you. And when you're thinking, what am I doing? Why am I doing? And that happens. That's
Mm-hmm.
beauty right there. And also you said another good thing you said, which I think you found your purpose. You know what
Correct.
I mean? You
Yes.
found your purpose. And that's another thing that everybody doesn't find that. I mean, everybody has one, right? We're all put on this
Mm-hmm.
earth for a reason, and we all got different purposes and different gifts. But when you find your gift and your purpose, oh my goodness, is that what you're experiencing? Is okay, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, yeah, are we being paid for our service? Absolutely. But at the same time, you're helping somebody. Like again, most of these people are coming to us out of desperation. They're at their wits' end. They don't know where else to turn. They'll call and ask, "Well, do you handle this?" And I say, "Absolutely." You know, I always ask them if I could come out and take a look at their project, and it gives me a time to, to meet with that person face to face and get to know them a little better, and they get to know me. And we discuss their project and we strategize right there. And I think that's one of the things that have helped me sell what I do. They see the real Lou. Actually, I did have a client say, Lou, after meeting you, he says, I feel real comfortable. I feel real good with you.
Mm.
And that's what he says, and I'm going to hire you right now. So I know it works, versus just a phone call, this faceless meeting across the phone. They don't really get to know you and you don't get to know them. You get to hear their
Wow.
story.
Right. That's what I was going to ask you
Yeah.
too, because you're talking about the process of everything too. Yeah, get that out about how they can get a hold of you before I ask the next question. But how
Yeah.
can they get a hold of you? Your email, your phone number. Can you let everybody out here that's listening to
Yeah.
Evelyn's Roundtable know your
I'm
information?
on Google. I'm on Google. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, and I'll be on Instagram soon. I just have to set that up. But if they go to my website, www.tactlasvegas.com. They go to the website. My number's there. They'll make the call, or they can even do an email inquiry. I answer my email right away, and I'll reach out to them. So I'll respond to that email first. If I don't get a response within maybe a day, max 2, then I'll reach out to them by phone. And I'm very cautious in doing that because some of my clients will actually request that we don't call them. They just want email only. And I actually got another contract because of that. And the lady says, Lou, I'm going to hire you because she said, you paid attention. You read my email where I clearly stated, do not call me. Now, after we made the initial contact, phone calls were okay.
Of
But it was like
course.
a test, I felt like it was a test,
It was.
again,
It
paying
was.
attention and listening to their story,
Mm.
So that's the way to get in touch with me. I'm very responsive. I have my phone with me all the time. I threw it over there and put on mute so we could do this today, but I'm very responsive, and they'll get a call from me with either that day or no later than the following day.
Isn't that something? Because again, I'm going to go back to the ladies that I'm doing right now for my pipeline class. That's the part that I keep telling them, like you need to really read. You need to listen and follow direction. And because a lot of people like to just whatever they're thinking, it bloops out their mouth,
Correct.
and what you're doing and what I'm doing in trades, you can't just bloop it out your mouth. You really got to sit there and pay attention and follow directions because, like you said, what if you do something the wrong way, or you don't clean this, or you do something that the client didn't want, right? And
Correct.
so that's very interesting. Boy, it's like we kind of running parallel here with our stuff, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Interesting. Well, one good part too, about hiring. How do you I know you're just getting started. Everybody is just getting started and everything, but that's going to change, right? You get jobs,
That's
you get
correct.
this. So how can they, do you hire a lot, or do you spontaneous hire, or how do you do that?
Most of the team that I have now have been through referrals. So I started with the core group of guys, and hey, well, Lou, I got a buddy. Hey, Lou, I know this young lady. Okay. I make contact with them. I'll vet them. And if I feel comfortable with that individual, I say, listen, next time I have a job that requires, a large crew, I'll give them a call. I try to give everybody a shot. I have to admit, right now, we're kind of rolling into, I believe, what would be Vegas's slow season, because, of course, it's the holidays. So we're not getting the big jobs like we were during the summer, which I do believe, like probably spring into summer, you'll get a lot of the hoarding jobs because people want to do their spring cleaning and clean outs and stuff during that time of the year. But that's how I've been bringing people on. I'm hoping in the future that I can land some major contracts where I can really start bringing on some W-2 employees. Right now, everybody's a 1099, but it works. It works.
Yeah. Get the job done and everything. And it's interesting about Vegas. Everybody's coming here around the holidays, but it's on the strip, right? It's
on the strip.
It's not the other way. And I always say, well, around Halloween, I'm like, okay, everybody's like, oh, we're doing this. And I'm like, nah, because we already know after Halloween, everybody starts slowly shutting down. And then here, like right now, I'm like, oh, wow, if you're going to do anything, you better do it this week, because between now and Christmas, this town is shut down. It's literally shut down until after New Year's Eve, right? And it was like, oh, no, everything. I was like, no.
This town won't start to wake up again until roughly February and March, because that's when the casinos start hiring again. In March, we have the big, March Madness and all that stuff's going on. And that's when Vegas starts to wake up. And then basically that March is a preparation for summer, but you're correct. This is a slow time.
It is. It has been like that way since I've been here. It's like, oh, we're going to do this. I'm like, nope, Nobody answers emails. Nobody's
Yeah,
doing nothing. The
that
kids
is
are out of
correct.
school, so everybody really slows down, right? The kids are
That
out
is
of
true.
school, nobody's talking. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Wow, wow, wow. So, what do you foresee? Are you going to hang in there? You are like, I don't know. So are you tipping? Which way you tipping right now?
I am tipping forward. I know it's just a matter of time. Like you mentioned earlier, we are brand new. We just started. The process started in February of this year, but I didn't go live with my Google ads and actually getting jobs until July. So what was that, about 5 months now? It's not
Mm-hmm.
even been a full year. So I know it's just a matter of time, especially, I keep getting these jobs and getting wonderful reviews. My organic leads are going to grow. And word of mouth, I feel, sells way better than any advertisement because you're automatically vetted. So if I did a job for you, Evelyn, and now you know someone else who needs that same service, you can be, no, 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 you need to call him because he's going to do this, he's going to do that.
Right,
So
right,
now I'm looking forward
right.
to definitely taking TAC to the next level.
I agree with you. Hell yeah. And again, yeah, like you said, we had the conversation about starting your own business. It is not easy at all, right? And it's
No.
not, and there is a time frame in there. 3 years, 3 to 5 years, right? You go
Hmm.
into it, you kind of make decisions if I want to do this or not. And most nonprofits or LLCs die out within the first 3 years because they done gave up, they didn't want to keep trying,
Hmm.
but and then two, Lou, don't let nobody tell you to shut this down. Don't even do it because you
Yep.
know in your heart where you're at. Everybody else is looking in and pointing the
Yep.
finger and judging and all of that. And I'm just telling you to stay true to thyself. Stay true to thyself. You keep this going because here in another few more months, a year is gonna go boop, and then you be
Oh
calling me
yeah.
and say, "Hey, do you know any people that I can hire? We're doing
Oh
good."
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I call it the gray noise. Don't listen
Yes.
to it.
You're
Don't
you're right.
don't even do it. Don't even do it. Like I said, this is your purpose. You found it
Hmm.
and stay at it. And two, and you're changing lives.
Yes.
You're contributing to the workforce here in Nevada. I mean,
Yes.
wow. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
okay. And the thing is too, we do make it look easy.
Yeah.
Because everybody think they can do it, right? Oh, you're
Right.
not doing anything, and you're like, okay, and then you kind of let one of the little slide remarks go, right? And then you get
Right.
another one, and then because now when I get those little remarks on, I'm like, well, then you go do it, right?
Mhm. And if it was that easy, a lot more people would be doing it. And
Woo!
it's not. They don't see our silent struggles. You
No,
know,
no.
they don't see what's going on behind the scenes, how you're trying to make ends meet financially, and everything else. There's a lot that goes into owning your own business. A lot.
Woo! Yeah, it does a lot. And it's but it's a beautiful thing though. The independence and the well, wait a minute. I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
we are clocking in, but not clocking in like that, right? And
Mm.
and two, it's not just okay, one day I'm gonna sit here, right? Or I get that job. No, this is like 7 days a week. If we had eight, it'd be 8 days, right? We
Yeah.
had 25 hours, it'd be 25 hours.
Yeah.
So it's not just okay. And again, people are not seeing all that, like you just said, right?
Mm.
And
They're
and we
not.
make it look good because you're organized, right? You're like,
Right.
and you're focused, you're dead focused, you know?
Yes.
So I
Exactly.
totally get all that. And man, it's beautiful though to own your own I'm gonna say it, own
Yeah.
your own shit.
Yeah. And it puts us on a road to financial freedom. You know, we
Yeah.
set our own hours. We make the decisions. And that was the thing for me. I got to a point in my career, I was like, I really was getting tired of working for somebody else, you know,
Mhm.
punch and literally, as I say, punching that clock.
Mhm.
So here we are.
Yeah, isn't it something? Yeah, it's beautiful.
It
And
is.
again, I with my ladies, I said, yeah, you get your journeyman's card, and I really hope that you start your own business somehow or whatever. I said, but again,
Mhm.
owning your own business is not for everybody, right? Some people just want
That's
to be
true.
worker bees, you know.
That's true.
There's nothing wrong with being a worker bee. There's nothing wrong with that. But some, like us, oh no,
Mm-hmm.
we got to take the other challenge, right? We're like, well, wait a minute,
Yeah.
we want to we want to go a little bit higher with it, right? Wow,
Exactly.
wow, yeah, this is beautiful what you're doing. You're really helping and serving, you know, and you have military family. Any
Oh
family
yeah.
been in the
Yeah.
military?
Yeah. Yeah. My dad was Army, had an uncle in the Navy, a cousin in the Marine Corps, a couple cousins in the Marine Corps, friends, military. I just never went in. But I
Right.
guess as my dad said to me, it's okay. He says, your boot camp was when you went to the police academy. I said, okay,
But
I'll
it
accept
was though.
that.
It was still service.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I like dad because he's army like me. You know, I'm sorry, the jarheads and all that. I'm like, whatever. But that army, yeah, 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 yeah. But
Yeah.
but but it's the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You obviously you picked up from that,
Oh,
right?
oh, absolutely. A lot of the skills that I learned while I was in law enforcement, I've transferred to this job, you know, and we mentioned earlier about listening to your clients. Well, when you're a police officer, what are we doing? Conflict resolution. You have to listen. Okay, tell me what happened. I remember saying it 1,000 times. I get on the scene. Okay, ma'am, sir, tell me what happened. You know?
Yeah, and you had to get it right too. And
Yeah.
because that person's dependent on you to get it right. And because
You have
when
to
you
get it
get a
right.
job, and yeah, you got to get it right, right? You go,
Mhm.
I mean, they tell you, oh, we want you to clean this, and then you come in there and something else happens, and people are like, I'm paying you good money,
Well,
and you
it's funny that you mentioned that because Evelyn, when you're dealing with hoarders, they really don't want to get up off of their stuff. Trust me when they tell you.
no,
They are hovering sometimes, and you have to be mindful of that. So I've developed a little system, especially if I know they're right there. I'll say, I'll turn to them and I'll show them an item, ma'am, sir, and they'll give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And by doing that, it puts them at ease because their anxiety is kicking in. They're like, oh my God, he's going to throw that away. He's going to throw that away. But if you check in with them, and I found if I check in with them a lot, and I tell my team, check in. If you can't check in with them, check in with me. And then I'll check in with the owner. But it really makes a difference when you're dealing with them. Because again, people have to keep in mind, hoarding has been now recognized as a mental illness. So you're dealing with someone who has a mental disorder. They may not realize it, but I have to realize that and
wow,
address them as such, you know. So there is a dynamic there when you're dealing with these individuals, you know.
wow,
So that's
wow,
where those listening skills come into play
wow.
and
That's
attentiveness and organization, you know.
right. Wow, that is something. Wow, I mean,
Mm.
this is. I mean, wow. I didn't think about that part either. The mental part of it. Um, that you and then your workers. How is it? Do you notice anything about, because I know you have to have certain people that work for you too, because like you said, you get a job where you got to clean up a crime scene, or you got to go in there and clean up something, like I said, when somebody
Mhm.
dies in a house, and you come in there and all that. So I'm talking about your employees. How is
Mhm.
it, like certain thing you're looking for when people are calling you, or when you want to seek out employees?
Yeah, I like to definitely talk to them first, and then, if possible, meet with them before they even start the job, because that's part of my vetting process. And in that process, I take the time to kind of like get a feel for them and if they're going to have the stomach to do this. And I tell them up front what they're going to encounter. I love sharing my story about the rodent jumping on my arm. That could happen. I tell them about the infestations that we come across. You know, can you handle that? Also, are you okay with bodily fluids? It's it happened to me just a few weeks back. The house, the drain backed up, sewage came back up into the sink.
Mm.
And I'm
Oh,
fishing through it with my hand because we have to clear the debris out of it. But the smell was so overwhelming, I had to go outside for a breathe, if you know what I mean. You
right.
know, so I warn them, this is what you're going to encounter. Can you handle it? So of course they say, of course, yes, 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 because they're, they want to work. So I
Right.
says, okay. And it's going to be a trial by fire. So when I get a real bad hoarding job, they get the call and I put them right in there. They're going to literally get their hands dirty. So that's
Wow.
part of my vetting process. And so
Yeah.
far, so good. I have a core group of people that work with me and they seem to be oblivious to it. That's fine by me.
Wow. I can't wait to you. Like I said, give me that call. Hey, you got anybody? I need some more. Because it's coming. And I
Mhm.
know it is. It's coming. It's coming. Wow. Wow. You do
You know,
great work. Great organization. You're LLC, correct?
that is correct.
Yes, yeah, because you're for profit, right?
Yep.
Right.
For profit.
Wow, wow, this is so cool, so cool.
And matter of fact, Evelyn, I'll even extend an invite to you if I ever get one that's really real bad and you want to come out and take a look and,
I
you know,
do.
even if you come out with me just to do the estimate, do the walkthrough and see, because I think that would help some of the ladies that you're working with. If
Mhm.
they wanted to go this direction and work with me, you can prep them too. Hey, I've been on these walkthroughs with him. I've been on some of these jobs. It's not for the faint, you know?
Right. No, it's not. And yes, I'd be honored to come and do that and the opportunity for that. 'Cause like you said, at least I mean the experience and also the know-how on me being there and be able to tell the ladies that come to because I get calls on all kinds of things too, It's
Mm-hmm.
not just trade jobs. Some people are calling me and asking about nursing. I mean, all of that. I
Right.
it's like they think I'm the guru for workforce. So they call me. And I'm like, I do trades. Yeah, but you know about the nursing over here. And I'm like, no, but you can go to CSN. I can point them to the right people and everything, right?
Right.
So
Right.
wow, wow. Is there any last words? And oh, please give your email in your website and your phone number again if you can do
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah. I can be reached at tactlasvegas.com. That's the web page. And my email is going to be info at tact. Was it? Oh, that is. I get confused with my Gmail one, but it's info at tactlasvegas.com. And we can be reached at 725-242-3895. And the other number, which you'll find on my website, is 725-777-5815. And that's how I can be reached.
There you go. Wow. Again, what an honor to have you on here. So glad to
It's
have
my
met
pleasure.
you and everything. And I wish you the best in success. And everybody that's watching out here, please spread the word for Lou Brown. I mean,
Yes.
this is really, and like he said, especially around February when everything gets to, speeding up here and all
Yep.
that. And so it'd be great to come on a tour one of these times and check it out and see
Oh,
what you're
yeah.
really, really doing and
Looking
everything.
forward to that.
That would be cool. That would be like wow,
Yeah.
just really cool to experience that. And everyone else that's listening out here again, every first and third Wednesday at 7 p.m. Evelyn's Roundtable, and we're talking about all kinds of things here, that have to do with Nevada and in
Mhm.
supporting organizations here in Nevada too, which is very important to support. And you can get a hold of me also at info at Nevada spelled out, WIT.org. And my website is www.nevada spelled out, WIT.org. That's how you can get a hold of me. So Nevada Women in Trades is what I do out here. Help women to get in trades, help family to change their lives. Kind of what Lou's doing, helping family to change their lives. So thank everybody for being on here tonight. Appreciate everybody that listens, and please spread the word about Evelyn's Roundtable. And I always end with my mission statement, and it is to help all women to come together and hold hands as we rise.
This podcast is brought to you by Envision U. Envision U has discovered how to impact spirit, body, and soul with spray technology in just 30 seconds. With Envision U, you can achieve optimal health and start living the life you have always dreamed of. Use the promo code envisinu.com/VernDix to take control of your health naturally. PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.